Alright guys, I'm Dominic from the World Class Happiness channel. I'm going to have a little bit of a rant today because I'm feeling like having a rant, to be honest. Now, as you know, I'm normally on here, I'm positive, and I'm giving sort of like a lot of information and ideas on how to be happy and how to be positive. The channel's called World Class Happiness, so I kind of feel a little bit funny about doing this, but I'm going to have a rant because I think this subject kind of affects a lot of people, especially the younger generation. All right, now I worry about the younger generation. I say that when I'm saying that I sound like really old. All right, I'm 43 years old, so I'm not an old granddad, but you know, obviously I'm talking about generally sort of teenagers and people of that kind of age group who are influenced these days by what I can only really describe as a bunch of clowns, all right, meaning these YouTubers and people who they aspire to be like. Now this is coming from, and a lot of you will probably guess, because I'm into martial arts, I'm into you know, obviously I'm a ex-judo fighter who's become a judo coach and an MMA coach, so I'm involved in all of that. But I'm a fan also of just combat sports in general. I love boxing as well. And there was a show on at the weekend, which you can't really call it a boxing show. It was a circus really, and it had boxing matches on it. Put it that way, but you can't call it a boxing show. There were ex professional boxers and fighters on there. And it was all geared around this main event between the YouTuber Jake Paul, who, you know, just want to point out has got 20 million followers, or 20 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. 20 million, 20 million.4 or something like that, I noticed today. Now that is a crazy amount of people. That's a massive amount of people. Now somebody with that amount of following, you would assume has got something about them. They're either really good looking, they're really intelligent, they're really funny, and personally I can't see any of them things. There must be something about him, and there must be something I'm missing, but I can't see what it is. And probably a lot of people around about my age and maybe younger, maybe older, probably thinking along similar lines. Now what the reason I'm ranting is because, you know, he had this match against Ben Askren, who is a legitimate fighter. Ben Askren is an ex MMA fighter, high level MMA fighter, ex Olympian, really good record. But what you need to understand is that his record is so good because he's a world class wrestler, and his whole MMA game, mixed martial arts game, is about getting close enough to take the guy down and then obviously control or finish the person on the floor. And he was kind of brought in to do this boxing match against Jake Paul, the YouTuber, and in all honesty, and even Ben Askren himself admits he is not a good boxer. In fact, he's probably the worst MMA boxer in the UFC, or was in the UFC, and his hands are absolutely terrible in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions. And Jake Paul, despite, you know, being a YouTuber, is actually quite a good boxer. Not world class by any stretch of imagination, but quite a good boxer. Now these two are matched off. Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren fairly quickly in the first round and didn't look too bad, to be perfectly honest. That's not what I'm ranting about, to be perfectly honest. It is the whole thing surrounding the fight. Okay, now the whole attitude of Jake Paul, his entourage, or his cheerleaders, or his whatever you want to call them. All right, now I don't know how old he is, 24 or something like that. The guy has a bunch of cheerleaders. All right, and as far as I can gather, they're paid to be his cheerleaders. Now that is, to me, seems a little bit strange. All right. Now, I say we're all, there's 20 million people interested in somebody who has to employ people to be his cheerleaders. And is very arrogant, very immature. He's a clown, a complete fool, as far as I can gather. And you know, around him, you know, the commentary team on that show, Snoop Dogg. I mean, who calls himself Snoop Dogg? Snoop Dogg. Please. No, anyway, Snoop Dogg won $2 million on this fight, right? And obviously Jake Paul knocked him out. And I won't say what he said, but obviously he's on the commentary team, Snoop Dogg, and he gets up and he's shouting about his $2 million, swearing his head off. And the language and the whole show and the whole attitude, you know, they're high as kites, they're drunk. You know, there's Oscar De La Hoya, who's a former legend in boxing. He was on the commentary team, completely off his face, just sounded like a complete idiot, to be honest. And it's embarrassing, completely embarrassing. And my problem with the whole thing is that there's a lot of kids watching that, a lot of kids looking up to those people, and a lot of kids aspiring to be like those people. 20.4 million people like that guy and follow that guy and possibly watched that fight, you know, where you've got in between the fights there's like music going on, and it's not good music. And I'm not saying this as an old person. I don't like the music, and it's not like that. It's like the lyrics and stuff just are not really appropriate for kids. And yeah, it just makes me laugh, really, that there's so many people thinking that these guys are what you want to be like in life. All right, now people will be thinking, well, who are you? Who are you to say that? You're not successful. You're not, well, it depends how you see success. I would say I'm a lot more successful than them. All right, now Snoop Dogg's worth 150 million or something like that. Crazy, stupid amount of money. Does money make you successful? Maybe some people might think that. I don't think money should be a kind of measure of success. As far as I'm concerned, the only success you need in life really is happiness. All right, now I'm not saying that I wouldn't be happy if I was mega rich. I think I would. I think I'd probably be more happy if I was mega rich. All right, and that's because I'm already happy not being mega rich. I don't think that'd be necessarily the case the other way around for people who are maybe in my situation. I don't think they would be as happy, and I think that's because of the way I live my life. And I think you know, I would not swap places with any of those people. I can guarantee that 100%. I'm not saying that like as if I'm jealous. I'm not jealous at all of people like that. And you know, on the other side of the coin, you know, it's not that I've got a problem with people who make money, because there are some people out there who are making a lot of money, who are clearly happy, and they are what I would call role models. But there's a lot of people, there's millionaires and billionaires killing themselves, you know, and that is not success to me. Now, on the other side of the coin, on the same evening, we had the UFC going on, and the main event was won by a guy called Robert Whittaker. So a lot of people maybe don't know Robert Whittaker because they don't follow the UFC. Now, awesome fighter, certainly in terms of being a legit fighter, you know, absolutely miles ahead of the likes of Jake Paul. and he went to the press conference right after his fight. It was literally going on, you know, simultaneously in different places. And he went to the press conference. This is Robert Whittaker, and the press team was saying, you know, oh, you look hot. You know, you know, you could take off your tracksuit top and do your press conference without any top on, because he was sweating and he looked really hot. And he said, no, women and children watch this. Women and children watch this. So, you know, again, he's a legit fighter, a real, what I would call a nice family, a family guy, good husband, good father, and a legitimate role model, legitimate badass, if you want to call him that. But somebody who I would aspire to be like, you know, and fighting might not be for everyone. I just talk about fighting a lot because I'm involved in martial arts myself, and I think there's lots of lessons we can take from fighting and combat and stuff like that. It's not for everyone, but the way that people live their lives is what's important. And Robert Whittaker certainly has the attitude that I respect, and you know, he might have said, you know, women and children watch this show or whatever, and I'm leaving my top on. He might have said that in a little bit tongue in cheek, but I think, yeah, and then he never took his top off. So I think he did kind of, you know, as far as he was concerned, he was being respectful, and I respect him for that totally. And I've got no respect for people like Jake Paul and the fools who are around him, bigging him up, being his cheerleaders, you know, trying to get in and make a lot of money off his name. You know, what's the world coming to? However, I like to finish on a positive. I do like to finish on a positive. What I will say about Jake Paul and any of the YouTubers, the high-level YouTubers, he's got a brother, Logan Paul. A lot of you may know that. He's a similar character. Also, he's a bit of a wannabe boxer also. What I will say about these people, I do keep saying that they're clowns and fools and stuff like that, but there is a reason why they've got 20 million followers or subscribers. It's because they've got unbelievable confidence, unbelievable self-belief. They've got real drive and determination, real important traits. They must be good, you know, brilliant at goal setting, and they're obviously great at marketing and making money. So, you know, it's not all bad. I'm not saying these people are complete donuts. They are quite smart in that way. But that wouldn't be for me. I wouldn't be following, you know, obviously take some of that away from this video, that you can obviously use some of that side of them and that, you know, that part of their attitude, if you like, to take on board. But what I will say is, you know, all those subscribers, all those followers, you must be thinking to yourself, well, that makes him right, or that makes him correct, because he's obviously doing something right. And what I quite often say is, maybe going the other way, being different to everyone else and having a different opinion, doesn't make you wrong. You could be in a minority and you're not necessarily wrong. So you make your own mind up. What I can guarantee, these people, they might have way more money in the bank than me. They might have, you know, they might drive Ferraris and Lamborghinis. They might live in massive houses. But I can guarantee 100% they're not happier than me. I can guarantee that 100%. There's no way of measuring that, obviously, but I can guarantee it. If I had $2 million, I would, and we could measure it, I'd bet it in a heartbeat. It wouldn't bother me, because I could guarantee I'm happier than them. And there's no coincidence that a lot of these people in these positions have depression, go into rehab, they have issues, you know, and that's what we've got to bear in mind. So that's enough waffle from me, enough ranting from me. I'll be back to being my jolly happy self next time. And if you like what we're talking about on the channel, I'll please subscribe, and I'll see you again on the next video. Cheers, guys.